so we are back, episode 2. You remember we will be dropping this content every first Friday of the month. I'm Helena Island.
I'm Billy Island.
And this is Marriage Moments with the Islands.
Because every
moment matters. See, it's not cheesy.
Yeah, well, you know.
He thinks it's cheesy.
No,
I love
I'm
it.
in
I
now.
love
I'm
it.
in. I'm in. I'm totally in. I believe you. I trust you.
Yes. Let's go.
I'm excited about this episode because we got a lot of feedback about people really being blessed. We got DMs. We have people in our personal messaging. They really said that they were refreshed, and that was the goal. That's the goal.
Yeah, that is
to refresh those who are married, those who are seeking to be married in the future. And I believe that first episode done that. Today, I'm excited about today.
Okay.
And the reason why is because it's something that I believe that we do well. Now, there's a lot of stuff that we don't do well. I'm telling you, I missed the mark big time in marriage, but we're learning, and I think we do this pretty well. And so what is your thoughts? What do you think about episode 1? What do you think about this deep dive we're going to take in episode 2? And what's on your heart pertaining to this whole podcast?
Yeah, so for me, I think episode 1 went great. We did it. Well, we had a few retakes or one retake or something. Anyway, at the end of it all, I think the content was great. I think it's very useful. Just because it was so personable, you know, like those are literal things that's what this whole thing is going to be about, stuff that we've actually experienced. This particular topic, though, I think is if I could say, it's super important because marriage is a lifetime commitment. Okay. And when you make a lifetime commitment, society, culture, your flesh, whatever you want to call it, screams, oh my God, you're going to be bored. Oh my God, the same person literally for the rest of my life, you know, and people look at it like, gosh, can I even do that? You know, and I mean, there's statistically the divorce rate is so high, and all of the things that we already know that pose challenges in relationships. But what we're talking about today, I think, is kind of the hope for long-lasting love.
And the statistics say that average marriages last 8 years, a little over 7 actually, but I'm gonna round it off to 8 years.
Oh wow!
And with no further notice, we're just gonna go ahead and dive in and say what the topic is. It's about keeping your dating life hot. I mean, having it on fire. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I'm talking about on fire. Why? Because if you're gonna be living with this person for the rest of your life, I don't think it needs to be boring. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and just touch this taboo that people have. And the taboo is this: that marriage is no longer relevant, that marriage is not the goal, that's not the target, that's not something that couples search out for. But I think that it still is. Marriage is the pinnacle of relationships. You know, outside, obviously, I'm a preacher, so I'm going to say outside of a relationship with God.
Yeah.
You know, but secondly is marriage. And so keeping your dating life hot. Now, it leads me to ask, like, what is dating? Because some people don't know what that is. Seriously, when you talk about dating, people are like, okay, what is that?
You know, one of the things that I've learned, I had a small group of young girls. And one thing that I learned really quickly was that language has totally changed. Like words that I would use, you know, to describe a thing don't even mean the same thing anymore. So I think it's really important to define dating. Okay. And I think in a nutshell, dating is making room in your life to get to know someone else.
Making room.
Yeah.
Talk about that, because prior to dating, you're independent. It's just you. You pay your bills. You do your thing. You really don't have room for other people. Talk about that.
Well, let's start here. Let's start with, before you start making room for anyone else, I think it's super important that you have room for yourself. Like you love yourself. You are in a good relationship with the Lord. We're Christians, so we're always gonna come from that premise.
Healthy, right?
Healthy relationships that are not necessarily romantic. You know, getting the toxicity level of people, you know, to a minimum, because you're always gonna deal with toxic people, but dealing with your toxicity level too, finding freedom in areas of your life that perhaps could, you could be usatory. Or like me, I was a very, I had to deal with being kind of like a standoffish person, could be kind of cold at times.
No.
And so I had to deal with that, learning how to be a person who's even approachable, because my mom used to tease me and say, okay, Helena, well, you're kind of wearing a sign that says do not disturb. What, how do you think you're going to attract people or a man,
So getting
good
healthy,
for me, you didn't mind trespassing.
Right. Well, that felt like a challenge for me. It's like,
Right.
oh, you think?
All right.
Oh, you think? Oh, yeah, I can pull her.
Yeah. Okay.
But okay.
Okay.
So what I'm hearing,
You're right.
what I'm hearing is you need to be healthy in your own right.
Oh, yeah.
Prior to
yeah.
getting into a relationship. So prior to even dating or even having the ability to approach the dating life like from a healthy space, you yourself got to be healthy. Because what I'm seeing now is like people will take a sabbatical, or let me say this word, they'll take a rest from like dating, and they won't have people in their space. And then all of a sudden they'll dive into another relationship, but they didn't take that space of rest to get healed. So they go into that dating life again with another toxic person.
Yeah.
And they're like, I just got to take them. I just got to have a relationship. I got to have this girl. I got to have this guy. So it seems as if
we've been together for years now or whatever.
Yeah. And it's like, you just feel like I have to take this.
Yeah.
Like, no, dating is an opportunity.
Yeah.
To get to know the person over coffee, over dinner, and there don't have to be a long list of commitments. We're getting to know one another.
Yeah, I think during the dating phase, which is a getting to know one another phase, it's super important that you honor the time. Honor the time you're in. There is literally no need to be joining bank accounts and buying phones together and even, sharing vehicles. You've literally known this person 2 months.
Yeah.
Like what? That's something that baffles me to no end. But I also think it's very important that you honor the season that you're in,
right?
With the person that you're getting to know, because I think that when you jump the gun and not honor seasons, what happens is you lose time. Like you begin to make commitments that we weren't even at that point to start making yet, you know?
So what is dating? The dating is making sure, one, that you're healthy, and two, bringing that healthy mindset to another person and blending your life in a way to get to know one another, but with no commitments, giving you the ability to walk away if it's toxic. Or
if you need to.
You're saying, hey, maybe it's not even toxic. This is just not for us. This, we're not going to go to the next level. And that's okay.
It's okay.
Because if you're healthy, you can walk away and no one's mad.
Right.
No one's mad. No one's like, hey, I give you my heart. Well, hold up. We were just getting to know one another. So that's what dating looks like. Sounds like what you're describing. And definitely that's the view that I have. Let me ask you this. This is a good one. Is dating even common these days? Like, do people do that?
Well, we were just talking to a younger friend of ours, right? And he kind of let us in on a perspective that we didn't necessarily have. He mentioned to us with COVID and everything that happened and people spending literally 24 hours a day together, they didn't even feel the need, not necessarily him, but, do people even feel the need to date anymore?
Right.
Just because we've spent all this time together. And I say, yes, absolutely, yes. Date your person, because Billy and I work together. We're pastors, so we've built a ministry together, and it kind of doubles your time. Like, we've been married for 13 years, but it kind of feels like whatever double that is. What is it, babe? You're the math person.
26 years.
26
More
years.
like 30 years, because we do like where some married couples, they go to work 8 to 10 hours with a commute and everything, and then they get back, and then maybe the other spouse isn't at home. They have responsibilities with the kiddos, or they do some housework. So they're probably together maybe 6 to 8 hours, and maybe 5 of them are asleep. Yeah. And so me and Elena's like together literally about 18 hours a day. So you get to know a person, their quirks, when maybe they're in a good mood, how to navigate through some tense conversation. You learn a lot about a person in those times. And so I think that dating, we dated for 3 years prior to us getting married. 2 years, 10 months, but I just always round up, right? And so that time was so important getting to know you.
It was.
And I'm gonna tell y'all, this is one of the things that really hit me. Helena actually told me something. I got frustrated. I got frustrated about something. We were talking, and for all the people that feel as if when you get frustrated, it's time to quit. We didn't. We were dating. I got frustrated, and I said, I'm sorry. And I think I led with like, it won't happen again. You said, even if you never change, I'm still committed to loving you. And I was like, oh my God, this is... Now, it wasn't amazing in the sense of like, whoopee, I can just act stupid and just keep on running over this woman and getting frustrated. You know what? That compelled me to actually change, bro. I was like, gosh, man, this woman is a boss. Yeah. I'm like, she loves
Oh, you don't
like
drop
this.
that card unless this person is worth it. That's when you hold close to you. You don't say that statement unless this person is worth it. And I knew he was the type of man that was committed to change and committed to making room for the Lord, the Holy Spirit, to deal with him. And so because I knew that at first, because during the dating stage, I was on my job. I know that falling in love is a beautiful thing, and it is a beautiful thing, but it can also be intoxicating to the point that you just blow your dating time on a fantasy. Of who you think this person is that you've actually created in your own mind. So you say, I do. Well, when you say I do, your fan, that bubble gets bursted real quick.
And then you kind of like disregard the red flags that you saw. The red flags that you saw that you were like, will this be devastating to a relationship?
Yeah.
Lifelong,
long term.
Long term. And so I think that when we ask the question, is dating common these days? I would say it depends on what definition someone has about dating. Yeah. What is your definition of dating, and what is your approach to dating? Because it can be common. I think that there's people that are new. When they say dating, it seems like they're young and they're new to the dating life, and they say I'm dating. Sometimes, and correct me if I'm wrong, it seems as if they're like saying already I'm off the market.
Oh yeah, I've seen that a lot.
But dating often is like, okay, I'm just getting to know someone. It's a friend. That don't mean I'm off the market. You're not my girl. You're not my guy. We're dating. We're just dating. I mean, and I've taken that approach sometimes. Like if someone says we're dating, I think that's a relationship. But if we went on a date, I feel like, okay, we're just getting to know each other.
See, again, language, knowing those definitions and knowing what you're trying to convey when you do sit down and talk to somebody. Because again, I've talked to a lot of women and a lot of young men who just dating. It's either dating is sex, or dating is a mini marriage, like a little sidebar marriage. And, in reality, it's really none of those things. Really, it's time that you're investing to make room in your life for another person. And during that time, you are supposed to be studying that person to see if, in fact, this is someone I can spend the rest of my life with. Because, again, love is very intoxicating, and it is a foundational piece. We don't have a loveless marriage. We have a very loving marriage. But I believe that both of us, because we were so intentional that we valued our lives and our relationship with God and the calling that God had on our lives, because we valued that so much, we just really kind of were on our P's and Q's about, okay, this guy, maybe, maybe he can have a little temper, and he, noticed in me, oh, she's a stubborn one, and those were things that we said, okay, not a deal breaker necessarily. I'll work with that, but we saw it for what it was.
I'm going to be straight and honest with you guys. The stubbornness and things like that really didn't bother me. What I was focused on, because I believe that she had a relationship with God and the Holy Spirit was going to deal with her character defects because she was giving herself over to change. But I was looking at the willingness to serve God in ministry. Yeah. And I know that sounds crazy, but if you got a calling, fellas, you can't just jump into a relationship with anyone, because you'll jump in a relationship because you're thinking of sex, or you're thinking of, oh my God, I need to, satisfy this itch of being lonely, whatever it may be. But you'll dive into that. And then this person you're trying to drag on this journey to serve God. And they never said they wanted to do that.
Yeah.
They never said they wanted to do a church or ministry. So I was watching for that. Like, will she give herself over? Because our life is an entire dying to self, like literally waking up early, going to sleep late. It's always about other people. And I'm not complaining. I love it. But I'm saying, will she be able to do this long term? And so that's what I was watching for 2 years, 10 months, is I was watching like, okay, let me see how she respond when she's like irritable, or how she gonna respond to people when she haven't had much sleep, or when, we're just in the grind, in the thicket of things. We're doing summer camp with all these kids. There's 300 kids around. How is she gonna respond when someone comes up and they ask her to do something else when she's doing another job? How is she going to respond? Is she still going to act lovingly? Is she going to respond with irritation or attitude? And I was watching that because I'm going to be with her, and I don't want to get with her and be in love with her and then still don't fulfill the call of God that's on my life, then be irritated with her and look at her and be resentful because I didn't do what God created me to do.
Yeah.
All because, I chose to marry her. Now, true enough, once I'm married, I'm already in.
Yeah.
But before I get married, while I'm dating, I get an opportunity to make this choice, whether I want to be long term with her. And obviously, we've been together now going on 13 years. So, obviously, she passed all the tests with flying colors.
Ooh, lucky me. Now.
So,
nah, just kidding. No,
but is dating even a hot topic then? Are people talking about this? Do you hear ladies talking about dating? I don't really hear guys talking about dating.
Well, I mean, I think it might be a little weird if you did, but one thing I can say,
Why?
because I don't know, men, I don't know, I just can't picture it. But I don't know that it's not, even though, we did talk about like COVID and how that took its toll on a lot of relationships. And I think that people came out of it on one end of the spectrum or the other. So what I mean by that is either people think dating is like super cheesy, or they like we see on Instagram all the time, they go all out. Okay, we putting on heels, we doing full production makeup, we getting hair, we getting nails, we getting dresses. He's dressed to the dime. And so I think it's both ends of that spectrum. Either people think it's super cheesy, like, why? We're here every day. We can sit on the couch and watch TV. And that's not bad. We do that sometimes. Sometimes our date nights are stay-in nights. Yeah. But Billy and I have never thought it was cheesy. We've always made that time. And actually, I can't even take credit for that. I have to give Billy credit for that. It's always been a hot topic in our marriage because of the work that we do. And you guys can look us up. We do all kinds of ministry work.
TheWellDFW.org.
Shameless plug. But
and I had to change my voice in order to give you that. Go ahead.
I can't with this guy. The voice changes always take me all the way out. If I wish I could just insert that skeleton emoji like dead.
I'm sorry. And then I always throw her off when I do something.
Right.
Okay.
I don't even know what I was talking about.
We were talking about how
I felt like it was good.
Hold on. Well, it was good because you were giving me props for actually keeping dating in our life. So go ahead. Talk about this. Let's talk about this.
Okay. So with the work that we do, it's very demanding, very, very time consuming, and no complaints about it. I mean, this is the life we chose, but
absolutely.
It can be an environment that's hard to cultivate a healthy marriage. And so one of the things that Billy did early on was he would say, okay, Helena, whatever you're working on, shut it down. We're going to lunch. And we would just spend, an hour and a half or so together, get a bite to eat. Sometimes we go to a random park somewhere, just spend some time together having really good conversation, or a cup of coffee or something like that. Or sometimes we would, if you know anything about what we do, we have a recovery home called the Well Recovery Center. And Billy and I used to live in there and run that place for about 6-7 years. We were there. And so just secret, I'm going to tell them our secret. The guys would go to sleep, and we would literally sneak out of the house and like go to IHOP or somewhere that was open 24 hours a day. And then we'd sneak back into the house. It was so much fun. We literally had to sneak off. Cool. It was like having a house full of toddlers.
Yeah.
But
it's 60, 70 guys in the house. And once they go to sleep, it's like, okay, this is our time.
This is our time. Yeah. And so we would sneak off and go eat pancakes or whatever and make it back to the house. But he prioritized that. And I think that, man, that's a good challenge. That's a good challenge to take on, because women, for some odd reason, we can want something and not necessarily vocalize it sometimes, and just surrender to the grind of everyday life, kids, work, lunches and clean clothes and matching socks and all of that, making sure kids are not sick and all of the things, and just get caught up in life, doing what we know we have to do, and forget, this is the forever union, though.
Well, women, from my experience, definitely being with you, and I have 2 sisters and a mom. That's why I was raised around a lot of women. And have so many nieces, and it's just a few nephews, right? So I was raised around women. But what I notice about women are they're responders. Women respond well, to a leader or a man. Now, that does not take away any giftedness of women that are leaders. I know some phenomenal leaders that are women. This is one of them. But I'm saying a responder, they're looking for you to take the initiative. And so I think that if we're talking about is the topic dating, is it hot? Is dating a hot topic? I feel like it is in certain arenas, in certain areas, in certain groups of people and settings it is. Yeah. But I want it to be very, very important prior to marriage as well. Yeah. In marriage is good. I just want it to be a hot topic prior to, so people can shop around, for lack of better words, shop around to get to a place where you understand, like, this is the one, instead of just feeling like you just have this mandatory or this, obligation to commit just because y'all went out on a cup of coffee and they made you laugh. Just because they spent some money on you. Just because they, and I'm going to tell you something as men. I'm going to go ahead and tell you, ladies, especially men that know how to get money, and that's how I was prior to me coming to Christ. Man, money don't mean nothing. You throw all kind of money at a woman. Get her nails done, hair done. Don't think that you have a commitment to a man just because they do that. Because for one, I threw money around. A man, they'll work so hard and have money, it's nothing. And if you feel committed just because he threw money around, then you may get the wrong idea and find yourself in a relationship with someone that may not be healthy just because you was infatuated by him throwing money at you. So I think dating need to be very, very important. It need to be a hot topic. And if it's not, let's make it a hot topic. Let's make this the new norm, that dating is a hot topic, not only in marriage, but prior to marriage, because you don't have to get with someone in that first person. Voila, we date for a while, I'm married to him. It's like, okay, you didn't have any other options? You didn't want to check other people out? You're for sure, that's the one. Yeah. It's like, you can make it work, but man, maybe that's not the one.
Yeah. I remember my dad, he used to tell us all the time, because it was me and my 2 sisters. So he had 3 girls, and he would tell us all the time, hey, just because a guy tells you hello doesn't mean he wants to spend the rest of his life with you. Like,
give you a smile.
Right. Just because he's kind to you, you may even go out, and because he foots the bill, that doesn't mean that he wants to spend the rest of his life with you. He used to also tell us, just because he is nice to you and he takes you out to dinner or whatever, it doesn't mean that you owe him anything. Yeah. And so those are really key components to dating, to maintaining your own self-respect and all of that. But how do you think that you keep our dating life hot? Because I have to say, I kind of suck at, planning stuff like that. So can I say that? Sorry.
You said it.
Right. It's sorry, but it's true. It's true. I'm horrible at it. I'm not, so anyway.
Well, to answer your question, because I hear where you're coming from, is to realize, like, your partner, if they suck at it.
Yeah.
just you're going to have to take the initiative. No, all joking aside, is you do need to know your partner.
Yeah.
And if that's something they don't excel in, if you want that in your marriage and you know that it needs to keep going in your marriage, and you want to keep a fire going on in your dating life, you're just gonna have to take the initiative. So I'm not gonna take like all the credit as if like I'll always come up with great things. Like, I like to travel, so I will say, hey, you know what, babe, we're going to take a 3-4 day trip. I do, spearhead that with, the flights, do everything, the ideas of where we're going to go and, things like that. But I think that just our relationship matters so much to me.
Yeah.
That I mean, one, let me tell you, I was a gang member and I was a convict and a drug addict and a drug dealer. And when Jesus saved me, he was like totally number one. And I was just head over heels for Jesus, excited, always talking about Jesus, reading the Bible. Mm-hmm. And I had no idea that I even wanted to date anyone. I really didn't have that in my mind. I was dating Jesus. I know it sounds weird and cheesy, but I didn't have no need for a woman. Didn't want a lady. I wasn't thinking about them. And my leader said, hey, man, you say you want to be a pastor, you want to be a leader. Man, one of the ways that the enemy come in is through, like you not being married and being sexual single temptation. And sexual temptation. So he says, you need to get married, bro. Or start dating. I was like, I do? Like it was just, I mean, really, literally, and I know that sounds weird. And I used to be a womanizer and everything, and I prayed, and God brought you into my life, and you made my life so much better that I want to nurture that. Just like I like to nurture my relationship with Jesus, I said I want to nurture that and I want to keep it going. And so that's what helps me not to have a boring dating life. Me and you, we don't have a boring dating life. I think our dating life is on fire. Today's actually date night. Yeah. And so we're going to go date after this recording, have a great time. We don't know yet what's going to happen, but something's going to go down, right? And so we have a good time. And so no, I think dating is so important. Thank you for asking me that. And I wouldn't say that I could pat myself on the back. I wouldn't say that I can pat myself on the back. I think it's the Lord really. And it's biblical as we close this up. I want to say it like this. It's biblical because Jacob dated. Like he dated this girl for 7 years. Like he worked for his father-in-law. Well, he wasn't his father-in-law yet, but he like actually for 7 years worked just so he could actually marry. Yeah. Okay. Jesus' mother, Mary, was engaged to be married to a man named Joseph. They were dating. Yeah. Like the Bible says that Jesus said that in my Father's house, there are many mansions. He says, if he didn't have those, he would have said so. He says, but I go to prepare a place for you. And where I go, you go. I'm going to come back for you. Right. And so the Jewish thing at that time, the Jewish custom or the tradition was a man would come and ask the father, hey, I would love to have your daughter's hand. Mm-hmm. If he approved, he would go to the woman, and these are Jewish traditions, and he would say, I go to prepare a place for you. And they would be like, go crazy. Like, that was like saying, getting on your knee and saying, please, will you marry me? Yeah. What he was saying is, I go to prepare a place. That man would go off and work and get land and get, livestock and pinch a tent. And he would prepare like a livelihood for a woman. He would come back to get her. Yeah. And then take her to the place that he prepared for her. Well, obviously Jesus was saying it because, the church is the bride of Christ. Mm-hmm. He's the groom. He's the bride's groom. And so we're married to Christ. He was saying, I'm going to go down the cross and go to heaven. Yeah. And I'm going to prepare a place for you, but then I'm going to come back. And where I go, you go. Okay. And I think that dating needs to be understood that you got to go prepare a place. Mm-hmm. Prepare a place in your heart. Yeah. Prepare a place in your life if you have kiddos already. Prepare a place for the future of a life with someone. So dating is so important.
It really is. It really is. And also when you dating after marriage is important because, again, dating is making room for a person in your life, right? And the truth is the Billy that I know today isn't the Billy that I met 15 years ago. So you have to continuously make room for that person, who they are today, who they are today. And those kind of things get talked about and addressed and all of that during date night, You get to enjoy the evolution of your person, moving from glory to glory and faith to faith in their relationship with God is a beautiful thing. And a lot of that is talked about during dating. I can say our 15 years of being together, we've been married 13, but together 15. And in those 15 years of dating one another, I feel like what keeps us dating one another is the fact that we're both growing in our relationship with Christ and growing in our love for people and our desire to have healthy relationships. And because of that, it kind of spills over into our date night to extend that same courtesy to one another.
Yeah.
And so, so Billy and I are super excited about date night. I'm always excited because it's always a treat.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not so good at planning date nights, but I thoroughly enjoy them. I don't know. I'm sure that counts. But what we would like to know is, how do you enjoy date night? Do you feel like dating is important in your relationship?
And I want to touch where you said, if you're growing, date night and dating is exciting because you get a new person. But I'm going to tell you, when I'm not growing, and it's been proven through our relationship, when I'm not growing, it is a lot of tension because you get this same old stagnant person that is not making any headway and not adapting and adjusting to times and circumstances and adjusting to you. And so when I'm not growing, this is affected. But that is a great question. You said, how are you enjoying date nights?
Yeah. The people, how are they enjoying
it? Yeah. Make comments. How are you enjoying date nights? What is a date night for you? How do you keep that fire going in your date night or your dating life? So as we close this up, we know that every moment matters in marriage. See, look. Hey, that moment was like,
I didn't get it that time, but normally I'm
okay, let's get it together. Okay, marriage moments, cuz
every moment matters.
Make sure you share, rate, review, all of this. Make comments in the sections below. We want to hear from you.
Absolutely.
Thank you for your time. Every moment
matters.
See, that's good stuff.